people really do seem to like the Pixel better than the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max even. So I actually have some evidence to back this up. I was shopping around on the T-Mobile website because I needed to get a new phone for my son. His phone was all messed up, and he was using like an iPhone 13. So I thought, let me go ahead and get him an iPhone 16 Pro. And I was surprised when I pulled it up and the iPhone 16 Pro on T-Mobile, users rated it as a 2.8 out of a 5. 2.8 score out of a 5. And I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting. Like, wow, if it's that bad, let me take a look over the Pixel. And the Pixel 9 Pro, 9 Pro XL, particularly the 9 Pro, 4.8. And actually had twice as many customer reviews. So the numbers weren't too high. I think it was like 23 customer reviews for the iPhone 16 Pro, and it was 48, or it was like 50, I think around 50 reviews for the Pixel 9 Pro, and huge disparity, 2.8 versus 4.8. So a lot of people think that I'm crazy. I get all these wacky comments from people who just can't fathom that people might like the Pixel 9 series phones better than the iPhone 16. And a lot of the comments on the iPhone 16 Pro were kind of stuff we've heard. It's really not that impressive. I shouldn't have upgraded my iPhone 14 Pro. My iPhone 14 Pro is better. I don't know why I bought this. It's really not that much different. A lot of stuff like that. And I was really surprised how many negative reviews that it had. And I mean, in some ways, yes, in some ways, no, because like I'm really not that enamored with them. I do think they're better than the 15 series because I thought the 15 series sucked. And the 14 series, well, I had a really bad experience with those as well. Like battery life was terrible, heat issues, camera problems, all sorts of stuff. And it just continues to carry on into the iPhone 16. But yeah, I didn't think the disparity would be that big. I mean, 2.8. Who would think that the most popular, best phone that you can get, I guess, in the US, the largest market share anyway, would have such a terrible rating versus what people consider to be a worse phone? And there are things that the iPhone does better. I made a video the other day talking about the iPhone 16 Pro Max versus the Pixel 9 Pro XL. And I said the Pixel 9 Pro XL is a better phone. And I think the Pixel 9 Pro XL and Pixel 9 Pro are better than the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max. I think that really the only thing that iPhone has to hang their hat on is, one, they have better support, right? So you can just walk right in to a Apple store and get your phone fixed or replaced. You can get Apple Care and the ecosystem. Like, those things are definitely better than what you get with Google. Like, it's so much easier to get them replaced, repaired, and the ecosystem is great. I mean, we do have an ecosystem now with Google, like the Pixel Buds Pro 2, the Pixel Watch 3, Pixel Watch 3 XL, the Pixel Tablet, which is not that great. But anyway, I mean, it's still there. And then, of course, on the Apple side, you've got the Apple Watch, you've got the iPad, the MacBook, AirPods. I mean, there's just so many different things. So people really value that. And, of course, like the Apple Card, Apple Pay, I think is on par basically with the Google Wallet. But really, there's not a whole lot else. I mean, you could say the A18 Bionic because everybody's like benchmarks. I think half the people that just spew out the whole benchmark argument know nothing about hardware or actual performance or the experience with the phones. They're just like, oh, the benchmarks. Everybody gets their jollies with the benchmarks. And like, yeah, the benchmarks are better, but in practical application, when you take a look at the Pixel 9 Pro, Pixel 9 Pro XL, the screen is brighter and better. The refresh rate is more consistent and smoother. I think that Android 15 is definitely less buggy. It has less issues than iOS 18. You look at Google Pixel, you look at Android 15, you look at Gemini, and the AI, it's light years ahead of Apple. I mean, Apple's intelligence is still in beta. They just finally rolled out iOS 18.2, which gave us Genmojis. Yep, got them Genmojis. But I think the camera is, of course, better. You even take a look at the DxO Mark scored is better. I think the video is still better by a little bit on the iPhone, but Google's catching up, and I think the selfie camera is better. I think the selfie video is better. So there's a lot of things when you take a look at day-to-day performance, camera capabilities, smoothness, reliability. Like, there's a lot of stuff that Google really did well, and I think the build quality is good on both of them, and you don't have the heat issues with the Pixel. I know some people are like, oh, my phone gets hot. Like, somebody's phone's always going to get hot. But I get a lot more complaints, and I see a lot more issues with heat on the iPhone 16 series than I do with the Pixel 9 series. And then Yeah, I think that it's a lot closer conversation than a lot of Apple fanboys are willing to admit. And I think it's great for the fan base for Google because people could really be proud in these phones. The Pixel 9 series phones, I think they're fantastic. I think they're the best phones that Google has ever made. They've done a good job. Like the build quality, the camera, the smoothness, the super actual display. Like there's just so many things that they nailed right with this phone that Apple on paper, hardware wise, in some areas may look better, but then whenever it comes down to actually using them, and for those of us who especially have been experiencing issues, it just compounds it even further. But I think legitimately, a lot of the things that I've discussed here are better. And I think more people are impressed with it because I think the Pixel 9 series phones have been a big surprise for folks because they're so used to the issues we've had with like the Pixel 6, the Pixel 7. A lot of people are kind of turned off, but people want something new. And I think that that's been something that's really been proven when you take a look at the jump in market share, the appearance of more Pixel sales, and just the success that they're having. Pixel's having a great year. Like they're having a fantastic year with all their phones. Apple's market share is definitely down, and there were even a lot of concerns about the pre-orders not lining up, and analysts thought there was going to be a big miss. And I'm not sure exactly how that panned out in the wash, but yeah, people want something new. They want something that's not the same. They want something that actually gets improved, right? Like nobody really cares about the camera action button or the camera control button. It's really not that big of an upgrade. The studio microphones, those are cool. Those are helpful, but most people won't use that. And then you get the cinematic slow-mo, which, cinematic slow-mo, right? So, yeah, I think overall the Pixel phones have come off as better. I think they've been more surprising, and I think that that's reflected in these user reviews. Like usually you get two sets of people that do reviews: people that are really excited and really happy with the product, and people that are not happy. And I think you can see that really reflected in these numbers you get with T-Mobile. So like I said, you can go to T-Mobile and look yourself. Go to T-Mobile, go to the phones, look up the iPhone 16 Pro, 2.8 overall score out of a 5, and then look at the Pixel 9 Pro, and it's 4.8 out of a 5. And I even looked on Verizon, and the numbers were a lot closer on Verizon with a lot higher number of reviews from users, but the Pixel was still beating them on Verizon. And I think it was like half and half on AT&T. So customer satisfaction scores, customer reviews, overall numbers definitely point to a really good situation. And really, I think they do back up a lot of what I've said with how good the Pixel 9 series phones are this year, especially the Pixel 9 Pro, Pixel 9 Pro XL. I think they're doing a lot of good things. They're firing on all cylinders right now. And we just got the December update. We got new feature drops. And just seeing iOS 18.2 come out yesterday and seeing the flimsy little updates we got for Apple Intelligence, which are mostly all ripoffs, if not even clones that Google licensed to them. And then seeing what you can do with Google and Google's AI with Gemini, and Gemini is light years ahead of Siri. Gemini AI is actually quite useful, and I use it routinely. And then I try and do something on Siri, and it won't even tell me like an appointment. I had an appointment for my son for a doctor's appointment on my calendar coming up this past week, and I said, "Hey, what day is my son?" My son that was under his name. I said, "What is my son's birthday? Not birthday, but a doctor's appointment." And it's like you have nothing under that, or you have no appointments coming up. And I'm like, it's like 3 days from now. How can you not know? How can you not tell me directly like my calendar for this week? So Apple Intelligence still is not very smart. It's still very far behind. And that's just another metric or a benchmark for success. So anyway, I was looking at that. I ended up getting my son. He wanted an iPhone 16 Pro. So I got him a new phone. That's all great. And this is not one of those things to say the iPhone 16 Pro, like a lot of people are happy with it. A lot of people are happy with the iPhone 16 series phones. They definitely sell way more than the Pixels. So yeah, I think there's something there. I think it's totally fine if you want to use an iPhone. But I think you really have to sit back and start to say, you know what? Yeah, the guys over at Google are doing some great stuff with the Pixel phones. They're doing great stuff at Samsung. OnePlus is doing some really good phones. This is not a one pony show, right? It's not just the Apple show. I think they've been too lazy and sat on their laurels for way too long. And OnePlus and Google and Motorola and some of these other brands are starting to chip away and build some momentum and really building some really solid alternatives. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions, comments, gripes, concerns, complaints, all that stuff, go to the comment section. We can discuss it. If you enjoyed the video, if you like this stuff, If you enjoy the videos, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out, which is every day. Like, unless something catastrophic happens, like I even had to get my tooth fixed the other day. I broke one of my molars. It broke part of it off eating a peppermint the day after Thanksgiving. When we took my son out to go eat dinner for his birthday, went and ate hibachi. I got a peppermint when I got out, started to eat on the peppermint, and I felt this unusual crunch, and it was my tooth. So that was fun. Even after sitting in the dentist chair for 2 hours the other day, I still got a video out. So pretty darn reliable on that front. So if you like these things, you like these videos, you like these updates, subscribe, all that stuff. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.